Welcome to our deep dive into Mind to Matter by Dawson Church.
Oh, yeah.
This book
Yeah.
explores some pretty wild ideas about how our thoughts and emotions and beliefs can actually influence, like, the physical world.
Right.
So get ready to discover how you can tap into your mind's power to shape your own life.
It's easy to dismiss the idea of mind over matter as like mystical or woo-woo.
Right.
But what makes this book so interesting is that Church takes that concept and backs it up with some solid scientific evidence.
I'm definitely intrigued. Where does Church even start with this?
One of the foundational ideas in the book is that thoughts aren't just these abstract things floating around in our heads.
Okay.
He presents this idea that thoughts are a form of energy that can be measured.
Okay, so I've heard about brain waves and different mental states.
Yeah.
But how does that tie into the idea of thoughts as energy?
Well, you know how our brains generate electrical activity?
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
That activity shows up as different brainwave frequencies, alpha, beta, delta, theta, gamma, and each of these frequencies kind of correlates with a distinct state of mind. For example, when you're deeply relaxed, your brain is likely producing more alpha waves.
Yeah.
But if you're super focused on a task, you're probably in a beta state.
So it's like each brainwave state has like its own unique energy signature.
Yeah.
And those signatures change depending on what's happening in our minds.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
It is wild. And
Yeah.
Church takes it a step further by suggesting that this energy doesn't just stay confined within our skulls.
Yeah.
He argues that our thoughts as energy can actually interact with the world around us.
That's where things start to get really interesting.
Yeah.
But how does he back that up? How does he prove that?
He draws on research from a variety of fields, including neuroscience, physics, even quantum mechanics.
No.
He highlights studies that demonstrate how focused intention can influence things like the growth of plants or the behavior of water molecules. There's even research that suggests group intention can have a measurable impact on things like crime rates in a city.
Those are some really thought-provoking examples.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see how our internal state could potentially ripple outwards and affect our external reality.
Right. And it's not just our thoughts that play a role.
Okay.
Church also dives deep into the connection between our emotions and our ability to manifest. He explains how emotions have a direct impact on our brain chemistry
Yeah.
and consequently our ability to create the reality we want.
You know, I've definitely felt that difference between trying to achieve something when I'm feeling motivated and positive
Sure.
versus when I'm feeling stressed and anxious.
Right.
It's like those negative emotions create an uphill battle.
Yeah, Church talks about how positive emotions like gratitude, love, joy
Yeah.
trigger the release of beneficial neurochemicals
Oh, yeah.
like dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins.
Right.
These feel-good chemicals not only elevate our mood, but they also create a physiological environment that's more conducive to success.
So it's not just about feeling good to feel good.
Right.
It's about creating a chemical cocktail in our brains that supports our goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. And on the flip side, when we're stuck in negative emotional states, like fear, worry, stress, our bodies pump out cortisol,
Right.
which is a stress hormone that can actually hinder our progress.
Yeah, so it sounds like mastering our emotions is a pretty crucial part of this whole mind over matter equation.
Yeah. It's definitely a key takeaway from the book.
Okay.
Church emphasizes how important it is to become aware of our emotional patterns and learn techniques to cultivate more positive emotional states.
Right.
And it's not about denying or suppressing negative emotions, but rather about learning to manage them so they don't derail our efforts.
So we've got thoughts as energy and emotions shaping our internal environment. But how do we actually direct all this power? How do we intentionally create the reality we want?
That's where the concept of intention comes in.
Okay.
Church describes intention as the architect of reality, the blueprint for the life we want to build.
So it's about getting really clear on what we want
Right.
and then focusing our energy on that outcome.
It's more than just focusing, though.
Okay.
When we set a clear intention, especially one that's emotionally charged, we actually start creating new neural pathways in our brains. These pathways make it easier for those thoughts to translate into action.
Okay.
He describes it as creating a mental superhighway to our goals.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
Yeah, so the more we think about what we want and feel those positive emotions,
Yeah.
the more we're paving the way for it to happen. It's like we're telling our brains, this is important, make it a priority.
Exactly. And Church shares some fascinating research that supports this idea.
Okay.
He talks about studies where people who practice gratitude regularly saw significant improvements in their well-being and even experienced positive shifts in their external circumstances.
Okay, I'm ready to start building some mental superhighways.
Good.
This is already giving me so much to think about. But what about all those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs that inevitably creep in?
Right.
How do we deal with those?
That's where the amazing concept of neuroplasticity comes in.
Okay.
Our brains are constantly changing and adapting based on our experiences and our thoughts.
I've heard about neuroplasticity. It's like our brains aren't set in stone.
Right.
They can rewire themselves.
Exactly. And every time we think a thought, whether positive or negative, we're reinforcing certain neural pathways.
Okay.
It's like building a muscle.
Yeah.
The more we use it, the stronger it gets. So if we're constantly thinking, I'm not good enough, or I'll never achieve my dreams, we're strengthening those pathways, making it even harder to believe in ourselves and our abilities.
Okay, that's a bit unsettling. But the good news is we can use this same principle to our advantage. Right.
Absolutely. By consciously choosing empowering thoughts and challenging those negative beliefs, we can create new neural pathways that support our goals.
So it's like building a new mental habit.
Exactly.
Instead of, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
We can practice thinking, I am capable or I am worthy.
Yeah, and over time, those new pathways become stronger. And those limiting beliefs start to lose their grip. And guess what? Church provides some really practical exercises in the book to help with this process.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown. I can't wait to dive into those exercises and learn more about how to rewire my brain for success.
Yeah.
What else is coming up in our deep dive into mind to matter?
Well, get ready for this one because Church introduces an element that might surprise you, the heart.
Okay.
And not just in a metaphorical, touchy-feely way.
Right.
He's talking about the actual physical heart. And its incredible power to influence our thoughts, emotions, and even our reality.
Hold on, the heart.
Yeah.
Like the organ that pumps blood. What does that have to do with manifesting my dreams?
It turns out the heart is much more than just a pump. It actually generates a powerful electromagnetic field, way stronger than the brain's.
Wow.
And this field can influence brain activity and our overall health.
So my heart is like a mini power plant?
Kind of.
Sending signals to my brain?
Yeah, you can say that.
Wow.
And when our hearts and brains are in sync, what Church calls coherence, we enter an optimal state for well-being. And guess it, manifestation.
This is also fascinating, but I think I need a moment to process this heart-brain connection.
Sure.
We'll be back with more from Mind to Matter in just a moment. All right, I'm back and ready to dive into the heart of the matter.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. That heart-brain connection you were talking about has me super curious.
It's a fascinating area of study, and Church dives into some really compelling research. That suggests our hearts play a much bigger role in our mental and emotional lives than we realize.
So how do we cultivate this heart coherence? Is it about thinking positive thoughts with our hearts?
It's more about feeling than thinking. At least in the traditional sense.
Okay.
Practices like heart-focused meditation can help.
Yeah.
It involves shifting your attention to the area of your heart and focusing on feelings of gratitude, love, compassion.
I've heard about heart-focused meditation.
Yeah.
I've even tried it a few times. It's amazing how just focusing on the heart can create this sense of calm and peace.
Yeah, exactly. And that feeling of calm is a sign that your heart and brain are starting to synchronize, creating that state of coherence.
Okay.
Another powerful practice is gratitude.
Yeah.
When we consciously focus on what we're grateful for, we activate positive emotions and shift our energetic state, which can then influence our external reality.
It's interesting because gratitude is something we can practice anytime, anywhere.
Totally.
We don't need any special equipment or a meditation cushion.
Right.
We can just pause and appreciate the good things in our lives, no matter how small.
Exactly. That's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah.
It's a simple yet profound practice that can have a ripple effect on our entire being.
Okay.
And those ripples extend outwards, influencing the world around us.
I'm starting to sense the theme here. So much of what we've talked about so far circles back to energy, thoughts, emotions, the heart's electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
It's like we're all swimming in this sea of energy, constantly interacting and influencing each other.
That's a great way to put it. And speaking of energy, church takes us on this mind-bending journey into the world of quantum physics.
Quantum physics?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm a little nervous.
I hear ya.
That's an area of science that tends to go right over my head.
It can be a little complex, but church explains these concepts in a way that's surprisingly accessible.
Okay.
He focuses on the observer effect, which suggests that particles exist in a state of potential until they're observed.
Okay.
It's like they haven't quite decided what they're going to be until someone or something pays attention to them.
So it's like reality is this fluid, ever-changing thing.
Right.
And our observation, our attention, is what solidifies it into a particular form.
Yeah, that's a trippy concept.
It is. So what church proposes is that our consciousness, our focused attention, might be what's collapsing those possibilities into the reality we experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa. Are you saying my thoughts aren't just influencing things, they might actually be creating them?
That's the question some physicists are exploring.
Wow.
It suggests that we're not just passive observers of reality, but active participants in shaping it. It's like our focused attention is a spotlight.
Okay.
And what we choose to illuminate becomes more likely to manifest in the physical world.
Oh, that's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
It makes me wonder how we can learn to use this spotlight more intentionally to create the experiences we want.
Well, church suggests practices like meditation and visualization can help. They can help us develop greater control over our attention and consequently our ability to shape our reality.
Okay.
He talks about creating vivid mental images of our desired outcomes, engaging all our senses, and feeling the emotions as if those outcomes are already happening.
So it's like making a vision board in our minds.
Right.
We're using the power of our imagination to imprint those images on our subconscious, making them more likely to manifest.
Exactly. It's about training our minds to focus that spotlight of attention where we want it to go, becoming more conscious creators of our reality.
I'm starting to feel like I have superpowers. But I have a question. Does church talk about any downsides or potential pitfalls to all this mind power stuff?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
And church does address it.
Okay.
He emphasizes the need for ethical considerations. Our thoughts and intentions have ripple effects, impacting not just ourselves, but also the people and the world around us.
Right.
He suggests we ask ourselves,
Okay.
is this intention for the highest good of all involved?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So no using my mind powers to win the lottery at someone else's expense.
Exactly. It's about aligning our intentions with a sense of integrity and recognizing that we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
He encourages us to use this power wisely and responsibly.
Well, I'm definitely feeling a sense of responsibility and excitement about exploring these ideas further.
Yeah.
What other areas does church cover in the book?
He dives into the fascinating world of epigenetics,
Okay.
which is the study of how our environment and lifestyle choices can influence how our genes express themselves.
Okay.
And guess what?
What?
Our thoughts and emotions play a big role in this.
Wait, are you saying my thoughts can actually change how my genes function?
That's exactly what the research is suggesting.
Wow.
Positive mental states, healthy habits, and even our beliefs can influence which genes get switched on or off, affecting everything from our physical health to our emotional well-being.
So it's not just about manifesting external things,
Right.
like a new job or a dream vacation. It's also about manifesting a healthier, more vibrant version of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And church shares some fascinating research that shows how practices like mindfulness, gratitude, even spending time in nature can have a positive impact on our gene expression.
This is all so mind-blowing.
It is pretty amazing.
So what are some specific things that people can do to start putting these ideas into practice?
Well, church provides a whole toolkit of techniques in the book,
Okay.
drawing on both ancient wisdom and modern science. He talks about the power of meditation to quiet the mind and access deeper levels of awareness.
Right. Visualization, as we discussed earlier, can help us imprint our desired outcomes on our subconscious. And there's gratitude, which we already touched on.
Right.
What other tools does he recommend?
He talks about affirmations, which are positive statements that reinforce empowering beliefs. It's about consciously choosing the thoughts that align with the reality we want to create. He also encourages us to explore practices like energy healing, which work with the body's subtle energy systems to promote balance and well-being.
Wow. There's so much to explore.
There is.
It's like we have this whole pharmacy of mind-body tools at our disposal.
Right.
But I'm curious, so far we've talked a lot about personal growth and transformation. Does church touch on anything beyond individual benefits? Does he address using this power for something greater than ourselves?
He does, absolutely.
Yeah.
He dedicates a whole section to the idea of aligning our personal intentions with a larger purpose. He suggests that manifestation becomes even more potent when it's not just about what we want for ourselves,
Right.
but about how we can contribute to something bigger, something that benefits others.
So it's like finding our purpose and using our manifesting superpowers for good.
Exactly. It's about asking ourselves, how can I use my gifts and talents to make a positive impact on the world? He encourages us to tap into our values, our passions, and use this knowledge to create a ripple effect of positive change.
That's a beautiful concept.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting what we want, it's about giving back and making a difference.
And that's where the real magic unfolds. When we align our personal desires with a higher purpose, we tap into a source of energy and inspiration that's far greater than ourselves.
This is giving me so much to reflect on. I'm already feeling inspired to step into this role of a conscious co-creator, using my thoughts, emotions, and intentions to create a life and a world that aligns with my values.
That's awesome.
This has been such an enriching deep dive into Mind to Matter. You mentioned that church explores aligning our personal intentions with a larger purpose.
He does. He really does. It's this powerful concept that takes manifestation beyond personal gain and into the realm of contributing to something greater than ourselves.
That sounds amazing in theory. But I have to admit, it can feel a little overwhelming. Where do I even start?
I get it. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and feel like our individual impact is insignificant.
So how can we connect with that sense of purpose in a practical way? Where do we even begin?
It starts with identifying your values.
Okay.
What truly matters to you? What kind of difference do you want to make in the world, even if it's just in your immediate sphere of influence?
I appreciate that reframing. It doesn't have to be about solving global issues.
Right.
It could be as simple as being a more supportive friend or a more engaged member of your community.
Yeah, exactly. It's about finding those small but meaningful ways to make a positive impact. And when we approach our lives with that intention, those actions start to ripple outwards.
It's like those ripples in a pond. Expanding and creating a wider impact.
That's a great analogy. It reminds me of something Church highlights in the book. He talks about the power of collective consciousness and how when we align our intentions towards a common goal, we can create a powerful force for change.
So it's not just about individual manifestation.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all part of something bigger and contributing to a collective shift in consciousness.
Yeah, it's almost like we become part of a larger symphony. Each of us playing our unique instrument to create a more harmonious and beautiful world.
I love that image.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder,
Yeah.
is there any research that supports this idea of collective consciousness?
There is. Church references studies on the Maharishi effect, which found that when large groups of people practiced transcendental meditation together, there was a measurable decrease in crime rates and social unrest in the surrounding areas.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like our collective energy, whether positive or negative, can have a tangible impact on the world around us.
It really does. It underscores the importance of becoming conscious creators, not just of our own lives, but also of the world we want to live in.
This deep dive has been so thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I'm feeling inspired to explore these ideas further and experiment with some of the techniques Church outlines in the book.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. It's been a pleasure diving into Mind to Matter with you.
Yeah, likewise.
It's a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it.
I can definitely see why. And for our listeners who've joined us on this journey, if your thoughts and emotions can truly shape your reality, what world will you choose to create? We encourage you to check out Mind to Matter by Dawson Church. It's filled with fascinating research, inspiring stories, and practical tools to help you unlock the power of your mind. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those positive vibes flowing.